When I was child growing up in Jamaica, I have written this here before, I can remember around age 5 or 6 I was standing in the back porch of our home. There was a cherry tree several yards away from where I stood. The sun was bright and hot and I alone stood at that back door of the back porch, just when a small pebble was hurled at me from behind the cherry tree. Frightened, I stood still and looked to see who threw that stone, but the trunk of the tree was very slender and could never hide anyone behind it. Jamaican cherry tree. Another pebble came, and another, they were being thrown at me, but none of them touched me. Although I was young, after a while I realized that what was happening was not to hurt me. Since then, and for a while I did not consider this feeling towards the experience I had with the tree. I have always had a fascination with trees. I have always felt as if they were alive and wanted to communicate. Oftentimes I would go to the river for rituals or sacrifices, and the first thing I would always do is attend to any tree that I met there. On my way to the beach while walking past trees, I would find the strongest ones and attend to them ceremonially and offer them prayers, salutations, water and other things, greeting them before going on to the body of water that I came to venerate. As I am writing this now, I cannot believe that I have never written a post specifically dedicated to trees because I have such high respect for nature and all the plants, herbs, and trees therein. Here in Nigeria, and although I am in the city of Lagos, at times I'd pass by some trees that are as magnificent as time itself. To me, as I go past them, and this is the honest truth, I can feel their energy. They reach out to me as if they have something to say, and in my mind I see them as royalty, these strong-rooted trees with roots bursting out of the earth, with their brilliance of greenery covering half of the street it stands on. It indicates history and many stories to be told. I want to tell you all today about an impressive conversation I had this morning with my daughter. The conversation brought back a message that was once given to me through mediumship about a tree that stands in front of my house, and also about the one I used right about often that stands at my window in my backyard. Yesterday, I sat on my bed and I began to hear old Zion songs playing in my head. Of course, I know that when I hear this, messages want to come through, so I began to sing the songs I heard in order to bring the message forth. My daughter, who knows to join in, did, and together we pulled the message through quicker, like pulling a fat little boy through a fence. I picked up the phone and called my sister in New York. I was somehow worried about the message I was about to give her, as I believed that she was no longer attached to her spirituality as before, but still, if the messenger receives a message and does not deliver it, then the blood stands on his shoulders. The spirit was bright and alive, and so I cared not how she would receive the message, but I knew I had to deliver it. I had no idea what would come out of my mouth as she answered the phone, but as I am a medium, the spirit spoke to her through me. The message was that she was to use a particular solution that I described to her, how to make things of nature, add water, and go out in the evening when all was dark, and throw the solution in front of the house, just where a particular tree stood. Let me be clear, the emphasis of the message was not on the tree, it was on clearing the house of anything negative that may have wanted to visit. The messenger also told my sister that she should adhere to what was being told to her because whatever was negative would affect her family, and not mine. You will soon find out why. To this, my sister became defensive and offended. Nothing will affect my family negatively, she told me. I, however, understood her declaration, because what came across was negative and so she wanted to push it away from her, and this was okay. Anyhow, she was warned 3 times to be sure that this work was done before the night was out. I then called my daughter and reiterated the importance of her aunt doing this ritual tonight, and that she should ensure it was done, even if she had to mix the solution herself and give it to my sister to do. The message was over and I enjoyed the rest of my day here in Lagos before I went to bed. At 2:00 a.m. New York time, my daughter called me. Mom, there was drama at the house here tonight, she told me. She proceeded to tell me that my sister, her, and my sister's husband all went out to do as the spirit had instructed. And as they were washing the front of the house with the solution, my sister neared the tree and cobwebs tied her entire face and body, almost like an embrace. She stopped in her tracks and had a strong urge to wet the tree on the solution. It was then an overwhelming feeling of sadness and distress came over her. As she wet the tree, she lost control of her next actions. The tree is sad, she said. Look at her leaves. The tree is crying. My sister suddenly burst into tears. It was a wail that sounded like the wind blowing in the tree that sways with it. The spirit of the tree that stood in front of our house began to speak through my sister as the others looked on in shock. The tree complained that our neighbor, Marvin, had called the city for the tree to be chopped down. The tree wailed and said it did not want to die, and that it had been living there for a very long time protecting that street, our house and most especially our family. The tree began to tell its history. She said she is the oldest tree in the neighborhood and has been there since the 1800s. She was not planted by the city, she had just grown. The tree in our backyard was her family, but she missed her companion across the street, but he had died during Hurricane Sandy in 2012. The two trees were directly across from each other and their leaves had touched like lovers holding hands. The tree wailed and tears poured through my sister's eyes. The tree was lonely, but she did not want to die, and so she warned, if Marvin, the neighbor, cut the tree, she would burn his house down and seek revenge on his family. D tree say Marvin deh pon har shit list. However, she assured my family that she would do so once my family has gone away. On this street, an orange cat often goes back and forth daily, like a solitaire assigned to the street. As the spirit of the tree came forth on this night, the cat stayed at the end of the street and only watched. He could not patrol the street as he usually does. When I spoke to my sister a few hours after my daughter had called me and told me what happened, she told me that it was her fault. When Marvin told her that he would cut the tree down, she had agreed, and so the message of the tree came all the way to Africa and straight to me. But it had given me the message in an obscure way. The messengers knew that if my sister had gotten the message to go and warn Marvin about cutting the tree down, she would not have done it. Her daily life may not have given her the time or even make her care at all about the tree. So she had to be tricked spiritually into going outside so that the tree itself could appeal to her conscience, as she was a co-signer to its death. This was why the spirit warned that whatever was coming would affect her family and not mine. What that sentence says is that you all, human beings, do not give care to things of nature anymore. There was no care to the fact that the tree is alive and living, there was no care to the tree having history, and that it, too, enjoyed our sun, our rain, and our seasons, and that it also lends its shade to us and other spiritual healing properties assigned to it, which it loaned to us in the neighborhood. Also, it has been years since I, myself, have fed that tree as I often used to do. In 2014, through mediumship, a message was given about this same particular tree which my youngest daughter reminded me of this morning, as she was the scribe that saved the message. As I related my sister's story to her, she found the message she had saved 4 years ago, and the instructions were, the tree serves your family. You must all salute and greet it in your goings and comings, because it is alive and well, and it serves as guardian to your house. The message went on to personalize some work that we could do to the tree for anything we desired, and the tree would provide. There has always been a connection me and those trees. I urge you all, wherever you live, please adopt a tree. Dog owners, please do not allow your dogs to relieve itself under a tree. If you are passing any tree and you see where there is litter or something that you can do to relieve it of any trash or clutter, please do it. Do not have any UAL relations under any tree. To do so is to disrespect the spirit of the tree. Think of this post when you pass another tree. Try to develop your spirituality by focusing on any particular tree you choose and seeing the spirit therein, whether masculine or feminine. If you ever knew the amount of spirits that lived in a tree, you would be amazed. Always remember that the trees, regardless of their size, are our friends and that the spirits of trees are most often benevolent. List of a few spiritually important trees. Iroko tree. Prayers at this tree are often answered quickly. In many cultures the Iroko tree is feared, shunned or revered. Noun, Yoruba. The Yoruba people are an ethnic group of southwestern and north-central Nigeria, as well as southern and central Benin. Together, these regions are known as Yorubaland. Source, Wikipedia. Glossary link. Greater than Yorubas believe that the tree is inhabited by a spirit, the Iroko man. Legend has it that anyone who sees the Iroko man face to face goes insane and soon dies. Also, when the spirit comes out of the tree, a terrible smell will surround the tree. In Yoruba culture, a man who cuts down an Iroko tree brings bad luck to himself and his family. They believe that the spirit of the Iroko can be heard in homes that use Iroko wood, because the spirit of the Iroko is trapped in the wood. Source, logbaby.com. Almond tree. This is a tree that hosts a lot of spirits. Good and bad spirits are very attracted to it. Cotton tree. Dark and lonely spirits love cotton trees. At a certain time of year, the cotton tree sends off an energy of suicide. It is not a tree that people should linger around much. Anyone within its vicinity, during a certain period, will begin to have thoughts of suicide. Palm tree. Those that have 16 palm branches. It is associated with noun, Ifa, from the Yoruba tradition. Ifa is a divination system used by the Babalawo and or Iyanifa. The oracle is owned by the Yoruba god of wisdom, Orunmila. Here are some posts on IFA for further understanding. The IFA divination process. Glossary link. Greater than IFA and the Ikans. The oracle of IFA comes from this tree, coconut tree. This tree is sacred because it is capable of doing anything for the human being. Ceiba tree Lignum vitae. This national tree of Jamaica. It is a very powerful healing tree. Its leaves can also be used in IFA tradition and mysteries. Weeping willow. This is a tree of witch power. Acacia tree. It is said that the oils from this tree brings anything alive. Sycamore tree Willow tree. These trees are sacred in witchcraft and also work with the moon. Oak tree. This is a knowledge and wisdom tree. Just by being around the oak tree, a person can download a lot of knowledge. The oak tree is also a pointer for alien beings from other realms. It is like a magnet to them. There is also a particular stargate portal that surrounds them. The Italian cypress tree. This tree is associated with death and transitioning to other worlds. The Bodhi tree, known for its wisdom. This is the tree that Buddha gained enlightenment under. Fir tree, associated with a deity called Tammuz. The Christmas tree is actually the worship of Tammuz, which is associated with Nimrod, Separamus, and Tammuz, with Tammuz representing light and originally what is thought of as paganistic ritual. The lighting of the tree is a worship to the deity Tammuz. Banana tree, a powerful tree associated with noun, Ajibe, a society, or family, belonging to an astral realm. On Earth, human beings can have an egbe, in other words, a society or family in which their spirit belongs, which will often disturb their lives on Earth due to contractual agreements between the human spirit and his society within the realms, a contract made before coming to Earth. It is possible to become initiated into egbe in order to break or nullify these spiritual contract agreements. Note, here, initiated, simply means to use ritualistic measures to contact and remain in contact with one's egbe, reverse the contract and have it now work positively for the human in his/her life on Earth, and placate the egbe in the realms. Here are some helpful posts to better understand egbe. Egbe, our heavenly astral mates. Egbe, a fascinating interview. Egbe, spiritual pacts and initiations related. Astral mates. Glossary link. Greater than egbe and egbe worship. She tree, very significant to the Yorubas. The Yorubas say that if lightning strikes, it can never strike this tree, and if it does, the O's tree neutralizes the power of the lightning. I, Obara Meji, along with my family, salute all living trees, plants, herbs, all greenery that are scattered throughout this earth plane throughout our world. I pray you all do the same. Obara meji if a big noun, msk red, mask red, elaborately garbed persons, or spirits, representing the ancestors or spirits of the dead, or messengers of heaven. Their functions vary in cultures. In the Yoruba culture, it is said that in the olden days, when the hunters wanted to have a successful hunt, they would make sacrifices to a masquerade's cloth, a special cloth used to appease non-physical spirits from the realms of time and space, to assist the hunters. In Yoruba culture of the olden days, the masquerades are known for their beautiful garments, but no human form would actually be beneath the cloth. Nowadays, a human is only beneath the cloth if he has been initiated into the masquerade society. Related, Igungan, class equals glossary link, greater than masquerade claims it doesn't see the smaller masquerade.